All right, well, thank you so much, Wes, for being with us today. I am super excited to be able to talk with you and to learn more about your company and the technology that you have created. But let's start off with just learning a little bit more about you. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself to me and all of the students and professors that are hopefully watching or listening to this, and tell us about your organization and what position you hold within that organization.
Yes, my name is Wesley Horne, and I'm the founder of TrueRep. It's an AI basketball training tool that helps players master proper shooting patterns and follow through form. So the technology detects biomechanics from shooting pocket all the way through the follow through using a smartwatch. It's currently available on Apple or the iOS platform.
Cool. Cool, awesome. So tell us about the nature of TrueRep. When did you create it? Why did you create it? And tell us more about your coaching background and what inspired you to go this direction.
Yeah, so during my G League years as an NBA coach, a couple players lost multi-million-dollar contracts due to non-shooting hand interference. Thumb flick is the term used. It's well known in the basketball world, but thumb flick and poor shooting rhythm. I was a player development coach at the time and wore a lot of hats in the G League, doing a lot of things. But that, you know, particular scenario, I reached out to a lot of different basketball teams and some of the leading teams in the industry. And I won't name a coach or team, but I know for a fact there was one coach that applied a piece of plywood to a player's wrist to try to get him to stop with his thumb flick. And I'm like, man, you're going to Home Depot to get us find a solution for an NBA player. So there was a figure eight strap that went around the neck, it went around the forearm, and it connected to the thumb, but it hindered the athlete from moving with a consistent, smooth pattern. And there was a plate that was used to put on a player's hands. It had a strap that went around the backside of the hand, but the round plate, was inside of the palm, and but it took the feel away from a player when they were holding the ball and trying to shoot a ball. And while the creators, their intentions were really good, I knew that that wasn't a solution. That was just a band-aid. So in 2012, I started building TrueRep, and I had a 3D printed wearable before Apple and Google had a smartwatch. I spent 9 years and 11 rejections to get a patent. When I first started, they said, Wes, you can't patent sunlight. And I said, I'm not trying to patent sunlight. I'm a former NBA shooting instructor, and I'm trying to patent a specific movement that can help players learn this pattern and gain the muscle memory in this pattern. And so, as technology, uh, as the world caught up with technology's been moving so fast that it's been challenging for people to adopt it and adapt to it. And so, as the world caught up with it, more and more people started wearing smart wearables. They started understanding the value in it with step counting, heart rates, whoop, stress, anxiety, things like that. But how it can be applied in sports proactively is very special, and that's what TrueRep does. There's a lot of tech out there, Hope, that it helps players, but it's visual tech, and that's reactive tech. So if I watch myself on film and I see myself doing something wrong, I still have to apply it later. So that's reactive. TrueRep gives feedback while players are in the act of shooting. And so that's proactive tech, and it lets them train on their own, learn on their own, and make adjustments on the fly.
Yeah. So you started to go this way and tell us a little bit more about TrueRep and how it works. But let's move that way and learn more about the technology. Tell us exactly what TrueRep is and what the function of it and what will a player experience while they use TrueRep.
Yeah. So TrueRep, it goes on the non-shooting wrist. I have my smartwatch on my left wrist. I'm right-handed. So it goes on the non-shooting wrist, the offhand or guide wrist, whichever one you want to call it. And as I shoot, it gives feedback to that non-shooting wrist. It eliminates thumb flick. This movement here. That's an unwanted movement. Moving without purpose is something we use in basketball, but that is a big problem. It creates side spin and additional acceleration on the ball, especially when players are defended well or someone has an outstretched hand that's affecting their shot. So it eliminates thumb flick. It helps with rhythm and by from shooting pocket to release. But because it's on the non-shooting wrist, it's amazing hope that the dominant elbow falls in line as it comes in and gets underneath the ball into the shot and into the follow through. So the dominant hand does what it's supposed to do because bad habits are eliminated from the non-shooting wrist and hand. So that's what it does. Every player, I've coached every age group from first grade all the way through middle school, JV, high school, JUCO, NCAA, NBA D leagues, and NBA. And when I moved to Charleston in 2012 after the NBA lockout, that's why I left the NBA. I started working with a couple of Bobby Cremen's Towel boys at the College of Charleston and some younger kids. That led into a couple hundred players. And I realized that these kids were just practicing terrible, very bad mechanics and fundamentals and just bad habits altogether. And I said, well, this has got to stop. So that's really the problem that it solves is it helps players train without supervision because I grew up poor, so I couldn't afford a trainer to begin with. And I live 45 minutes from the nearest grocery store. So I didn't have resources near me either. So TrueRep empowers players. It puts the coach on your wrist. That's what I call it. And they can use it anytime, anywhere. You don't need a ball or basket or a gym to use it. They can achieve things so much faster. You know this by working with youth and younger professionals that people absorb information differently. And even with a good personality, you can eventually get through to them and help them. But that process, you don't know really the timeline of that process. When they're using TrueRep, they adapt, they learn on their own. And it's just really remarkable to see what they're able to achieve with the tech.
Yeah, so tell us about it. What is you say that they get real-time feedback. What is that feedback? Does it ping? Does it buzz? Can you look at your phone? What is it that they are experiencing?
Yeah, so it gives haptic feedback from the iWatch. So it rings if there is a TrueRep. So you'll hear a good sound. And then there is a bad sound for bad form, bad mechanics, and rhythm. It detects pronation and supination of the wrist. And it has a boundary where it detects the loading of the shooting pocket, and then it activates once you get into your follow through and tells you if you put in a TrueRep or not. So I always tell college coaches that if you want to see it, I can demo it in person or I can demo it, and it's so much easier to understand. But because it is so new, it's really good that I get to break it down in detail with you like this because not many people are just aware of how this smart watch can be a basketball training tool. And that's what TrueRep is. It's a basketball training tool.
Yeah. So tell me about the metrics that TrueRep is tracking. And is there you wear the watch, but is there an app that goes with it? How does the player look at the metrics later?
Yeah, so there are two versions. We have a business to consumer, a B2C. That's on the iOS store. Players can download it for free, and depending on how far they want to go with TrueRep and how much they want to do, there is a subscription for monthly and yearly for more challenges and features within the app. And there is a team system that we're rolling out as we speak. So I released it 5 weeks ago with select D1 schools, and within the past 5 weeks, I got a call from Troy University's assistant coach, and their team has improved 7% across the board. Their three-point percentage has improved 7%. And historically, over the course of a college basketball season, the average growth or three-point shooting percentages has only been 1.5% over the course of a season. And so they've already, broken records and everything with what they're doing, and which allows them to score 4 to 5 more points per game. taking the same number of shots. And so that's a big deal. If you're, I mean, into analytics and statistics, that's a big deal. But the metrics and really what we are collecting is the repetition of proper patterns. And when players are repeating quality reps, let's just say you bring your son in and he's going to start with true rep. If he takes 100 shots with true rep, we know if he's taking 100 quality reps or not. If a player walks into the gym and they're shooting on a gun or they're shooting on, the machines today might collect makes and misses, but as far as his shooting form and his mechanics, he has no idea if it was a good quality rep or not. It may have went in, but that doesn't mean it was a good shot. I had a college coach once tell me, he said, as long as it goes in, it's a good shot. And I said, well, coach, based on that theory, I can kick the ball backwards over my head, and if it goes in, it's a good shot. And he said, well, you got a point. And I said, I absolutely, I do. So we're trying to build repeatable patterns that these players, it builds confidence and they can count on it in game time situations.
Yeah, so where do they find the metrics? Do you have an app attached to it?
Yeah. So yep. Sorry. Yes. So when they download it, they get they create a player profile. All of their analytics are there. There's no ads in the app or anything like that. So there's no distractions. It's available it can be used by players of all ages. My daughter used it when she was 2 years old in a diaper. And I've had NBA college players and now college teams coming on board. But yes, you get your player profile. You can check your stats. You have a weekly regimen. You can, just track your patterns and daily activities, how it's working. Most players are now finding out that they can apply it pre-game warm-up, getting their touch back after a weight training session. Rehabilitation, players with lower leg injuries or they need to rest their legs, they can do it from a seating, they can train with true rep from a seated position. So it's low to no impact. There are many different ways that players can apply it. And it's been really special to see the different age groups and how they're using it as well. But all of that stuff is in the app. And I'll share some screenshots with you that you're welcome to share. Hope and the team system, it's a dashboard on an iPad in the locker room. The watches are readily available. Players can just grab one. They can train in the locker room before they go play. They can take it out on the court and train with it out there in the weight room. And then the coaches can assign regimens. So it's kind of hands free for the coaches. There's no extra heavy lifting. They can just say, I want everybody to do 20 true reps a day. And right now, Troy has been doing 30 true reps a day, the entire team, point guards through centers. And that's where they've seen the 7% increase in their team 3-point percentages.
Wow. Wow. That is a great case study right there for you. You talked about different age groups using the true rep technology. Who is your typical customer, and has that typical customer changed over time?
Yes, it has changed. But my typical customer are the elite players, college players, elite high school players, the Kobe Bryant minded players that always see the need for improvement. They're very hungry. And so if they have a tool that gives them an edge, same thing with coaches. The Coach Cross at Troy, he's like, this gives me an edge. This helps our team. I want it. And if it gives us, we're 1% better every day, we're 365% better at the end of the year. So, it's now that smart wearables have become more affordable. I have a smart iWatch for my daughter. She only uses it for true rep. But before I got her a refurbished one for about $50, I let her borrow mine. So parents are downloading True Rep and they're allowing their kid to borrow it to train. And so I'm seeing an uptick in the youth market from 8-year-olds to 16-year-olds. So that's growing. We had an 800% growth last basketball season for 29 weeks.
Wow. Wow. So, how are people hearing about True Rep? What's the main way that you're marketing, or is it just grassroots? How do people know about you?
Well, it's It's word of mouth. I've kind of flown under the radar. I wanted to make things better um, over a stretch of time, just getting feedback from users, just trying to figure out what was player facing, what was coach facing, and what helped them. Because I speak a different language, when talking with the players, and as I've grown as a coach and as I've been so in depth and involved with basketball, some of the terminologies and things that I'm using are just not relatable to the average parent or kid. And so that's been that's been a great challenge. It's been a great challenge to get them to adapt and adopt to it. But it's been a lot of fun. It's our major market is here in America. It's the number one iOS and Apple market. Overseas is mostly Android, but everyone now is messaging us. They send us screenshots. Is this an iWatch? Is this an Apple Watch? Some people don't know what a smartwatch is, but those kind of questions are coming in. So I'm always willing to listen, and I'm always trying to get feedback and ways to improve it. And I've done that over the course of the past 4 or 5 years before really releasing something that I would end up in a bird's nest of, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. And so now we're actually rolling it out. I'm starting to talk to investors. I'm starting to talk to people about really getting some funds behind it so that we can scale at the pace that technology is scaling, and it's rapid right now. But TrueRep is being used in over 171 countries right now, and we got some real exciting things coming up this summer.
Okay, so you have 171 countries that you service at this point. Give us an idea of how many customers you have across all of those countries.
Yes, so 171 countries, a little over 32,000 users. We have over 500 active users each week. We're getting over 400 downloads each week. It's really important to us now that as things have grown and people are more intrigued by the technology and they want to apply it to their training, that we build habits with players. That's the greatest thing. You can have the greatest technology in the world, but if it's not habit forming, people are not just going to apply it to their daily routine. And a cowboy, for example, doesn't leave the house without his boots. And I want basketball players to leave their house with a smart wearable on their wrist, with TrueRep on their wrist. And so the application of it, the messaging that we're sending out, this translation copy, and ways to apply it, whether you're a beginner or whether you're an elite athlete. I used this case study. We just recently had a 6'10" power forward from Lithuania that was a 43% free throw shooter. He had a broken tibia, so he didn't play 1 minute last college basketball season. He trained with TrueRep to improve his form and pretty much reshape his form into a pure pattern, and he got to a 76% free throw percentage, and he went from being a $25,000 NIL contract player to being awarded a $150,000 NIL deal, and he didn't play a minute last year. He just improved his form using TrueRep.
Wow. Let's talk about the business model. If you're a customer, what ways can you, or a potential customer, what ways can you participate with TrueRep? Is there subscription options? Is there a one-time fee? How do you, what is the customer life cycle?
So we offer individual subscriptions for players and team licensing for NCAA and elite level high schools. Individuals can download the app for free on the App Store. They can subscribe if they like, monthly or annually, and team purchase annual packages that includes hardware, 20 player profiles, biomechanic tracking, and feedback on their coach-facing dashboard. So right now, that's pretty much it. It's all you need. An iWatch. You need an iWatch to use it if you're an individual player, and an iPhone. It is standalone technology, though. That's one thing I do want to mention. So if a parent were to buy an Apple Watch online, they can get everything hooked up on the iWatch at home using Wi-Fi, and the kids can take it to the gym. It doesn't need cellular data. TrueRep is a standalone technology. So as long as it's on the watch, when they go to the gym, it works. And if they hook it up through their parent's phone when they come home back on Wi-Fi, all of those analytics go to their personal profile. So, for a parent that doesn't know anything about basketball, they say, hey, I want you to go get 40 true reps a day. They can know that they're using proper form and they're learning and they're gaining something by their, activity training or practicing to be a better ball player without teaching them anything.
Cool. That's awesome. What do you think is the business, or what have you experienced? What is the biggest challenge in getting parents or coaches on board with using this kind of technology?
Yeah, with players, it's been habit forming, and that's growing. More players are wearing the wearables. College coaches are now that are using our team system. They have said 3 or 4 of their players have went and bought their own iWatch, and they've downloaded TrueRep on their own iPhone. So they've got personal accounts created where they're doing more work than what they're doing on the team system of the school. For parents to be comfortable to buy their kid a smartwatch, to spend that money, they're comfortable to buy a pair of $200 shoes, but this is new, and so finding that value and then seeing the value from the what it produces, and then of course with it being habit forming, and so um, that translation copy has been so important to us in just the ways that you can hype everything you want in the market, but people need to know how to apply it and how it can help them. They need that gladiator feel, and so that's really been the challenge is adoption and habit forming.
Yeah. Now, our textbook is all about the business of youth sport. And so we talk about a lot of the business practices and what businesses that are in the youth sport ecosystem, what they really focus on. So for TrueRep as a business, what are your key measures of success? What do you prioritize for when you say we were successful? What does that mean for TrueRep?
If we've moved the needle 1%, if we've helped one player improve, if we've gotten 1% more downloads each day, if a player went from 5 minutes of daily active use to 6 minutes of daily active use, 3 days of use and moved to 4 days of use per week, that's how we measure the success. If we've eliminated hurdles within the app, we've made things easier for the end user. That's really the goal. We need them to get to it, train, and then have measurable feedback that they can understand, and just see the value in their pattern and the process of making TrueRep a daily or weekly active habit.
Cool. Cool. Let's talk a little bit more specifically, and we have a little bit so far, but let's talk a little bit more about the player development and the future of this technology. One thing that we talk about in our textbook is all about talent identification, specifically in the youth sport realm, where there's becoming more and more ways for coaches to identify talent. How do you see TrueRep fitting into the talent identification space for youth sport?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. Analytics have been very helpful over the years, but a TrueRep player, you can identify them by their pure form. You can know, watching them shoot, if you know what you're looking at and you know what that wrist action, that form is supposed to look like, and a pure shooter, you can identify TrueRep players just based on that. I have 1,600 clients here in Charleston, South Carolina, second grade through high school, and I can go and support and watch the boys play, and parents will come up to me and say, his shot is just unbelievable. And his he shoots 50 TrueReps a day. I have a ninth grader. He had 6 threes in one game in his the closest one to the 3-point line was in the corner because there wasn't much room to step back. Everything else was beyond 27 feet. And this kid was a ninth grader, so who recently was invited to play in Germany this season in Dirk Nowitzki's school over in Germany. So he's taken his talents to Germany for his junior year of high school. He left actually Tuesday of this week. So it's recognizable. I've shown college coaches when I go in person to do demos, and I show them screenshots, videos of players that are using it. The first thing that comes to their mind is, what a shot, what a form. That's pure rhythm. It's, very consistent. And college coaches, Kentucky's head coach, Eric Spoelstra, Hall of Fame coaches, I've heard them say, Hope, that I don't have time to work on all of this player development stuff. This is something I'm not willing to touch. You're either going to be ready, prepared to perform when you get to us, or we're going to, toss you aside and we're going to move on to the next player. And I don't care how athletic you are. I don't care how strong you are. You all have the ability to learn proper shooting form. And so this takes that weight off of coaches' plates. It also takes the weight off the player's plate when they don't have resources or funds to find someone and have a coach over their shoulder like me every day. One thing that really was a great blessing to me to build True Rep was the simple fact that when I coached, it was an honor, it was a blessing to work with those 12 or 15 guys that were part of a team. But True Rep is a worldwide reach. So I have the honor of taking a technology that God blessed me to build and to create and to reach so many lives around the world and to change so many lives around the world. So it's just very special. It's going to reshape not only recruiting, but how players prepare for the next game and the next level of play.
I agree with you. Wearable technology is a huge aspect of especially the youth sports sector that is growing and rapidly growing. There's a lot of private equity that's being poured into it. So I definitely agree with you that, man, we're going to see, I think, a big shift in youth sport adopting these different kinds of technologies. How are there other, we focused a lot on shooting. Do you have any, maybe this is just insider information that you don't want to share and we can totally cut it out, but are there like future uses of True Rep that you see going beyond the act of shooting?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm building the True Rep Sports Lab in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. It'll be right in the heart of Mount Pleasant. And it will be the future of wearable player development technology. So we have basketball available now, and golf is next. So we have True Rep Golf coming, and I'm real excited to release more information about that. I have former NFL players, MLB players, and I'm really seeking those that want to be part of this. I'm trying to build a team, honestly. The Greg Olson Foundation, the Hardest Yard, reached out to me. They help a lot of kids with heart issues, and they also have kids that are deaf and blind. And my technology can be applied to what they're doing to impact everyone with their businesses and their efforts. And so I'm working really hard right now to align myself with people like that. And we're going to release I'm a basketball expert, but you can bet your bottom dollar I will bring on tennis experts, golf experts, football experts to produce what we need using my patented technology to help players around the world. AAU sports, Kobe Bryant gave me one of the kindest compliments, but it was also a little disturbing. He said, "Coach Horne, you're a purist in basketball. Don't ever be involved in AAU." And with the youth market today, a lot of coaches have really good intentions, especially in the rec departments. You have parents that volunteer, and they have the best intentions, but training a player, coaching X's and O's are completely different. When you talk about fundamentals and you're playing games all the time, you're missing so much. You're developing so many bad habits. Mentally, it's not good for you. Confidence-wise, it's not good for you because the immediate gratification is just something that doesn't have any longevity to it, and you set them up for failure. And so the entire system, I see it coming back to train, play. It has to happen. And that's one of my goals with True Rep. It does only work with shooting. Um, or help players with shooting, but there are a lot of unqualified people out there that are working as private trainers. They're involved in AAU circuits, and it's a money grab. It's so bad for youth sports. And so that was why Kobe gave me that compliment. He said, "Don't attach yourself to it because it'll dilute really what you're doing and who you are." But there are good people involved in it. I mean, I've seen some really good programs, but they only exist in your premier basketball areas like Kentucky and Indiana and California and Texas, Florida, New York. But most of your states really suffer, and the parents are just being led down a rabbit hole that they're paying a lot of money and not getting a lot of good results with their children.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully True Rep can change that, right? Because we're teaching.
I hope so.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, putting True Rep on their wrist, they have the power to do some corrections on their own, and they can build. Shooting is the most important skill in the game, in my opinion. If you can't put it through the cylinder, you know you're going to have difficulty playing the game, especially after Steph Curry, revolutionized scouting, recruiting, and the way offenses are set up. And so it's super important, and that's one thing that we hope that True Rep inspires players to focus a little bit more attention on their individual game and mastering their shooting form.
Love that. Love that. All right, Wes, did we miss anything about True Rep, the technology, anything before we get to these rapid fire questions? Did we miss anything that you would like to say about True Rep?
No, we've had ever-changing priorities, Hope, and I've been speaking to people about this for years. I've spoke at the Consumer Electronics Show. It's time, and I'm just really excited what's at the door, and my goal is to wake up to improve every day and to go to bed smarter and a better version of myself. And that's how I've kind of focused on making True Rep into what it is, and we're going to continue doing it. It's funny, we can think about things that we could apply to True Rep now, and once we go through our strategy and kind of how we're going to implement these things and how it's going to function within the tech, sometimes these things can be more complex than others and can take a couple weeks, and other times they can take 3 months. By the time you get to the end of a 3-month stretch, technology has changed so much that there's a better and smarter way of doing it. And so it's just ever-changing priorities, and we try to stay ahead of the curve as we pioneer the power of True Rep and showing people the power of the wearable technology. So that's just I can't emphasize that enough. And Chauncey Billups was a believer. He said if he had it when he was a kid, he would have been the best ambidextrous shooter on the planet. And so I'm looking to align myself with people that understand that can get to understand the technology, and that can help me in this effort. That's really where I'm at now, because there's only so much I can do. Mm-hmm. So, but it's been so much fun, Hope, and I can't wait to share some more about the sports lab and everything else with you as well in the future.
Yeah, can't wait for it. It's going to be revolutionary, I think. All right, you ready for these rapid fire questions?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
Here we go. Okay, what's your most memorable moment of your career?
Most memorable moment of my career was getting the light bulb effect and creating True Rep into what it is today. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, working with Harvey Pollack, getting the opportunity to make it to the NBA. I didn't have any connections. I'm a poor country boy from Alabama who grew up on dirt roads and single wide trailers, and I always dreamed of playing in the NBA, and when I shattered my ankle, it was coaching in the NBA. Either way, I needed to know what they were doing at the highest level. Mm-hmm. And I was on the beach in Florida, and I got a call from the Philadelphia 76ers with an internship opportunity, and I almost broke my neck trying to get out of that sand and answer that phone call, and I was ready to get on a plane that day. I didn't care whose toilet I had to clean, but I was going to go, and I was going to demonstrate the kind of character and work ethic that would just, blow anybody away and get more opportunities for myself. And so that was something that was super special to me, and I'll never forget it.
Love it. Love it. Okay, what do you consider the greatest success of your career?
Um, Building True Rep really from an idea into what it is. I started out with an orthotics group to produce cast molding, believe it or not, and every player would have had to get fitted for a cast molding, and producing my own 3D printed wearable, a smartwatch, when they didn't exist. And so that's all of that, just over the course of 15 years has just been, it's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think that's my greatest success in my coaching career.
Yeah, I mean, you were really before your time. 2012, was really before any sort of smart watches at all. And so for you to come up with this idea without that basis, that knowledge, I mean, that you're really before your time. That's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you're the students that watch these or listen to these oftentimes like to look at the highlights and the positive aspects of a career. But I think what is so important is to remind them of the failures that all of us have along the way. Is there a failure that you've had in your career, and what lesson did you learn from that?
Well, I've had several, and the goal for everyone, young professionals in life, is just understanding that, first of all, experience is more valuable than money. And what you're going to learn, what you're going to apply yourself to, you want to create a reputation that you're going to do things well, and no matter what it is, go at it with all your heart. But prepare yourself for valleys in life, because they're going to come and they're going to go. And some valleys may take longer than others, but when you get into those valleys, is to not, it's okay to maybe dwell on your mistake a little, or consider your mistake, but don't dwell on it. Don't stay and dwell in that valley. Figure out a way to get back at it. There's a lot that God needs you to do. The harvest is great. I'm a faithful man and a big believer in the Lord. And so we've got to get back up and remember who we're serving. And so as a Christian, that value is applied to my everyday life as a business owner. And I didn't plan on being an entrepreneur, and I have 5 businesses of my own now. And so you also, as you're running business, you cannot sit and stay in those valleys, as your leadership role is required of you, and no one cares about really about your personal feelings or what you're going through that day. So you kind of have to snap out of it pretty quickly, fail forward quickly, and just get yourself out of those valleys as quickly as you can and march forward.
Yeah, love it. If we could take a look back and talk to college age Wes, what would you tell him? What advice would you give him? Or if you want to direct it to our current students, what advice would you have for any sort of college student that is thinking about being and working in sport?
Be hopeful and always remain hopeful. That's what true leadership is. If you hope that you're going to improve tomorrow, if you hope there's a better tomorrow, if you hope you're going to get to heaven, that'll drive you. It'll keep you going. It'll keep you grounded in everything that you do. But don't think that you have it figured out, and what your plans may be, and routes that you will take that you look at as a not the correct route, because we just don't know it all. And as a Christian, I know God is leading me where He leads to lead. He needs to lead me, and oftentimes I don't really understand what that is, and I've questioned it truthfully along my journey. And but I've come to realize that, look, it's all in His hands. I have a duty to get up and work hard and do right by Him every day. But the route that He takes, don't miss what you're going to experience in your 20s. Don't waste time in getting your hands dirty with experiences that with a business that might not pay you what salary you want. If it's something really good to prove yourself, prove your worth, that speaks volumes. It's worth more than its weight in gold. And so get out there and apply your talents, learn and work, take jobs where you can discover talents. Don't be afraid to fail. And that's the one piece of advice that I would give them, because the more you do, the harder you work, more responsibilities are going to be given to you from God, and He's going to mold you and He's going to shape you along the way. So don't be afraid of challenges, and do not be afraid of taking risk. I can't tell you how many people I talk to that are not entrepreneurs or failed entrepreneurs. It's because they got into something and they just didn't have the confidence to see it through. They hit a couple of roadblocks or financial struggles, and they never bounced back and came back to it. And because no one else believes in what you're doing doesn't mean that it's not a valuable product or it's not valuable for the world. It's about seeing it through to fruition. And so TrueRep is a great example of that, being before its time and sticking around since 2012 to make its mark today. So, and that route hasn't been easy, Hope. I mean, I can't tell you how many sleepless nights and how many nights I filled my pillow up with tears, but it's been worth it every second.
Yeah, love that. I love that. Now, we know that you have experience in youth sport in a lot of different ways as a player, as a coach. How does your work in youth sport or your experience in youth sport inform the work that you do now?
Oh, well, I mean, I learn so much from kids every day. Every different generation changes. There's sometimes a gap between third and eighth grade. That group of kids will be a little different. Some of them will be knuckleheads for a couple years, and you'll have a group that everybody's locked in and ready to play. So I learned so much from the youth market, from the teen market, and the college and pro market, and even NIL and transfer portals, and the ways that analytics and things like that are being leveraged. So there's just so much that I pull from the game that we apply to what we're doing at TrueRep and developing our technology. So we want it to be player facing and coach facing, and so when they look at it and see it, they get that value out of it and understand how to apply it. So the information from basketball is ongoing, never stops.
Yeah,
never stops.
Always changing, always changing. All right, last question. Who is your favorite coach of all time and why?
James Naismith, my favorite coach of all times, because not necessarily just because of his coaching career in Kansas. He was a losing coach, by the way. He won 55 games and lost 60, but he invented the game of basketball. So while he may have lost with a group of 12 guys, he succeeded in inventing a sport that's helped millions of players and millions of lives around the world. And so that kind of inspiration is it's so rewarding for me, and I mean, it commands attention from me. And so I respect that. And I don't know really, the entire story of James Naismith, if it was a mistake or kind of how things went down, but I kind of put myself in his shoes sometimes, because it went from an underhanded shot to an overhanded shot. And I have to imagine the first person that walked into the gym that says, "Hey, bring the ball up here, shoot it up here," that everyone looked at that person and said, "What an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. This is how you shoot it," and so now I'm fine tuning what that guy created in 1891, and I hope to make the same mark that he did. I hope to revolutionize what he started and make the sport better after I'm dead and gone as well.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Wes, thank you so much for your time today. You just have a breadth of experience, and the technology is so cool, and I think could have a huge impact on youth sport as a whole, and is already having an impact at higher levels. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us and to speak into the next generation of youth sport leaders. I'm so grateful for you.